want to marry?
Probably Moana.
The child?
No, like adult Moana.
An adult Moana? Okay. I could see that. That's good.
What about you?
I'd probably gotta go Belle, right? She's like, it's the easy answer.
True,
But
true,
it's
true.
because, books, France. She likes a kind of gruff, hairy dude, so I feel like we could, it would work out well.
What you're saying is you're Belle's type.
Well, we're each other's type.
True. You like books.
Really, it is just the books. But she's willing to see past looks and into those books. And I don't got a lot of looks, but ooh, I got a lot of books.
You have both looks and books.
Well, thank you. You're married to me, so you have to say that.
I don't have to say anything.
But Belle, she would probably say that too. You and Belle have similar taste in men.
It's not untrue.
Although I don't know if I'm as grumpy and standoffish as the Beast, though.
True.
But it's a similar effect when we put on suits. You're like, oh, he's kind of pulling it off, but, he's still kind of a beast. But we're not talking about Beauty and the Beast. We are talking about Moana. And Samantha, I am Moana. How about you?
I am Moana.
So welcome to another episode of I Love This, You Should Too. My name is Indy Moana Randawa, and with me is my co-host, who is also Moana, Samantha Moana Randawa. It's just hyphenated Moana Randawa.
Yeah, Moana Randawa. That's a good last name.
It's not bad, actually.
I should look into that.
Well, you're taking the marrying Moana a little too far now, I think. If it's your first episode, maybe there's people this is the first one because people love Moana, I assume.
True.
There's people who do entire Disney podcasts, of course.
Of course, yeah. No, we're not making anything new and exciting.
No, we never are. But is this our first big Disney animated movie?
I think so.
Seems like it would have happened sooner.
I would have thought so as well.
But I guess the original premise is that one person would bring something the other hasn't seen, and we've both seen most of them.
Yeah, so I thought this was a good one because I went with we love this, you should too.
Right, so this was your pick, and why'd you pick it?
Because it's water themed.
Right.
And also because this movie is one of our favorites, I think.
Oh, I guess we're going to get into it.
Yeah.
Is it? So, Samantha, you picked this because we loved it. Do you still love it?
I love it. It's so good. Moana, like just Disney movies in general, have this like magic to them. And I think Moana like really took all that Disney magic and made it so much fun. What about you, Indy?
So overall, you love Disney way more than I do.
True, yes.
But yes, I love Moana. Moana's great. It's fantastic. I love this movie.
It is a special kind of wonderful.
That should be on their poster. Moana, a special kind of wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
So much so that you'll want to marry this child. How old is she? Like 15?
She's supposed to be like 16, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
That's like generally...
Your type? Interesting.
No. That's like generally the age, I think, of Disney heroines.
Oh,
like
interesting.
Like
yeah, you're
Ariel,
right.
16.
Ariel, I felt was young. I felt Belle was like a college student.
Oh, maybe.
But I'm not basing that
like
on anything.
20s?
Because they didn't have
Early
any
20s.
proper school systems.
No.
Same with Jasmine. Jasmine just seems older.
True. And I think Jasmine's supposed to be like around 16.
No, and she's getting married, huh? I felt Jasmine also like 21.
Oh, okay. Is that just you wanting them to be older because they're getting married?
Well, yeah, but she's worldly.
Yeah.
Jasmine is. She doesn't have to go on the journey to gain her self-confidence like Moana does in this. She has it.
Right.
She seems like she's fully formed. But we're not talking about Aladdin. But I guess we should talk kind of in the grand scheme. We're going to go through the movie. We'll probably do it more or less chronologically. We'll have our normal, wonderful insights. Well, maybe a little bit less because for the second time in a couple episodes, we're both kind of heat-stroked and haven't prepped. But that doesn't matter.
I think we need to like pre-record more episodes in the winter because we tend to be a little loopy on these summer ones.
But in the grand scheme of Disney, at least, where does Moana rank for you?
I think like Beauty and the Beast, probably my number one. That was like definitely one of the movies that like brought me into the Disney loving world. I think Moana might be number 2.
Wow.
And then Frozen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Frozen.
Yeah.
Huh. Frozen's not in
I
my
know
top
you're not
few.
like a huge fan of that one.
Oh, I think it's good. It's very good. But for me, it was growing up with that lineup of Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Lion King.
Uh-huh.
That like, all 4 of those have to be in the top 5, really. And then Moana's probably in the mix too. And then Frozen and things like that. There you have to get pushed back.
I feel like we did grow up in like the golden age of Disney movies. And I think I forget just how important all of those movies were to me. So maybe I need to revisit some of those Disney classics like Lion King and Jungle Book and Little Mermaid before I make a definitive ranking.
Little Mermaid and Aladdin are really
They are really good, but I also don't think I've seen them recently.
I guess we'll have to change that.
Yeah, we need to do a little Disney month.
Maybe later.
Not on the podcast, just like
For us.
just us. When you know how we do things together without the podcast.
Yeah, sometimes we exist without this podcast.
Yeah.
That's true.
So we're going to do this a little bit differently. We are going to kind of go chronologically, but we're going to kind of go on the plot based on the big songs in this movie. And this is one of the things I love about Moana is every single song is totally singable. Whereas in things like Aladdin, like there aren't as many like singable songs throughout. I feel like there's like your 2 or 3 big ones, and then the other ones like aren't quite as great.
I might push back on that, but I'll save it for our Aladdin episode.
Okay, sounds good. So we are going to start with Where You Are, which kind of opens the movie and gives you an overview of like who Moana is, where she is, and like the people around her.
There You Are is such an efficient song.
Yes.
So we start with Baby Moana,
Yeah.
who also the cutest.
Oh my God, I
Baby
love,
Moana.
that's the one thing I regret about going to Disney World is not being able to find a Baby Moana pin for my backpack.
So this song has like a passage of time, and it brings us up to the present because we had that kind of prologue almost with Baby Moana. And it sets up all of the themes of the movie, the themes of identity, of connection to your history, and really just straight out saying what the plot of the rest of the movie is going to be.
Yeah.
So it spells it out for you, but I don't feel like that's too heavy-handed because it's, it is a kid's movie and it is a musical, and having those themes go throughout, I think is something that Moana does maybe better than any of the other movies. All of the songs and all of the plot points kind of come back to the same couple of themes, which you don't really get in the other ones as much.
No, I like this one, and you're right. It is efficient. You learn everything you need to know about the movie in that like 5 or 6 minute song, and you get to see some really incredible animation. I love this overview of where they live because it's just gorgeous, and I would like to go to Montanui and stay for a night or 2.
And I get it if you watch this and you're saying that, so this movie just kind of paints all of Polynesian culture as one thing. It's not really anything specific, like a lot of their later stuff, like Coco and Encanto and those ones. They're more specific to where they are from.
Yeah.
This is just Polynesia,
Yeah.
just island stuff. And it's not specific. And then they have an entire song singing about coconuts. I get why people could be like, is that really the most clever writing? But damn, is it a good song?
It's such a good song. And you get like the voices of the village, which is kind of fun. And you get to see some of the like characters who aren't in the movie, but you can like really get a sense of what Montanui is all about.
And one of them is modeled and I think voiced by Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh Steelers great. And you can tell by his hair because Polamalu, if you ever watched him play, long flowing Maui-like hair.
So in this song, we also get introduced to Moana's big struggle is that she's drawn to the ocean, and
it calls her.
And
me too.
I'm also being called by the ocean currently.
I have the landlocked blues.
Yeah, we do live in a very landlocked province. So we get to know what the conflict of the story is, and kind of continuously see her going back to the water. And then we get to meet her grandmother, who is one of my favorite characters.
Maybe my favorite character of this movie. Like you could say Moana, because Moana is a great leading character,
Yes.
but the grandma stealing every scene.
Oh, man. And just like how she's saying, like, oh, I hope I come back as a stingray, or I picked the wrong tattoo. And she has like a back tattoo of a stingray. And then that comes back later when her like spirit, I guess, is swimming through the ocean to like guide Moana. And she's like, guess I picked the right tattoo. So I think Grandma should have had more time, but she also prompts Moana to go on her journey as she dies. So I think Moana needed that kick to go.
I agree that I'd love to see more of her on screen, but because of the few times we do get her, they seem very special, right? And they are very influential in Moana. And you see because she's kind of a stand-in for history, right? Because the idea of history kind of determining where she goes next, who you are being all of your history before that, making up where you are and who you are is very important. So these little glimpses of the grandma are that much more important. And I'm glad that I don't know any of the actors in this movie. I'm usually not good on voice acting ones, but she was fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. And that takes us to the next song, which is How Far I'll Go. And at this point, Moana has left the island and is sailing away across the reef to find Maui at the bottom of his hook.
I think How Far I'll Go is a top 5 I Wish song.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, all the Disney movies have one big I Wish song where people just state what they wish and what they want to do for the rest of the movie. And Part of Your World is maybe my favorite. The section of Belle is a very good one.
Yeah.
Reflection. Mulan.
Reflection is probably one of my favorite I Wish songs.
Just Around the River Bend.
Uh-huh. Oh, I totally forgot about Pocahontas.
Pocahontas, again, we keep talking about other things, but I have to put in my 2 cents about that. I don't think it's as good of an overall movie. And I feel like the soundtrack has 2 real high points, and high points as good as anything in all of Disney, but the surrounding songs don't live up to the surrounding songs of something like Moana.
Like we talk about this in other episodes of just like representation. And that was like the first time I ever saw like Indigenous people represented in a movie like that.
Yeah.
So I thought I would have like a very special affinity to Pocahontas because it was the first time I kind of saw what my culture was. So I love Pocahontas.
I'm still waiting on that, but there was that Spider-Man character.
Yeah.
That's as close as I'm getting,
Indian
and I'm happy
Spider-Man.
with it. So How Far I'll Go, I think ranks right up there. It's a fantastic song.
Oh, it is a fantastic song. And it's got that epicness behind it because she's sailing her boat and she's just like so full of hope. And quickly it gets squashed at the end of the song. But I really like that like wind in the hair epicness of this song.
And I like that it gets squashed. Not that to see that happen, but that this movie is about the bounce backs. It's not about getting determined on going and doing something.
Yes.
It's about failing and bouncing back and having your failures and those other choices that didn't work not define you.
Yeah, I agree. It's about how you pick yourself up and keep going.
Remember when that baby hit on Moana with sexy dancing?
Yeah, that was weird. When we do a like movie that's like suitable for children, I always go and look at those like Christian parent review sites.
Yeah?
And that like there's like all sorts of categories. I should have pulled it up on my phone, but I forgot. Of like nudity, sexuality, like language, and under sexuality, there's the kid doing sexy dancing with innuendos.
That's ridiculous.
And Maui doesn't wear a shirt.
It's crappy that when you search for movies now, the first 3 things that pop up, one of them is going to be religious.
Yeah.
And that doesn't need to be.
No, absolutely not. I think it's funny sometimes the things that they highlight that I wouldn't even think of to be like inappropriate for anybody.
Yeah, that baby was inappropriate.
He's so inappropriate.
And then we just get another absolute fantastic song in We Know the Way.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, this might be better than the I Wish song. And the first song too. Those, all three of them are high level Disney songs, I'd say.
This soundtrack from start to finish is just singable.
Yeah.
And you want to sing along, and it's just like, it's like a party. It's like a nonstop party. We get the reprise of How Far I'll Go, and this is right after the grandma's died and Moana is pushed on this huge journey, and we get this reprise where she is picking herself back up and going on her epic quest.
And the part of her grandmother dying was a lot sadder than I remember, because we listened to the music way more than we've seen the movie.
Yes.
So I kind of forgot about parts like that. But the fact that her grandmother, who is one of maybe her best friend,
like really the only person on the island who understands her,
dies and says, like, don't wait for me, you need to go. And how heartbreaking that must have been for her to just leave her grandmother as she dies.
That whole scene where her mom comes and like helps her pack the basket.
Oh, yeah.
It's like so emotional.
Wasn't that her aunt?
No, that's her mom.
Are you sure?
No, that's her mom.
Okay.
She calls her mom at the end.
Oh, it's her stepmom.
No, it's her mom.
Her mom only has like one line in this entire movie?
Yeah.
That seems like an odd choice. I think that's her stepmom.
No, that's her mom. And yeah, and it was also really sad when you know, like, the moment she dies, because the stingray swims under the boat in the water.
Right.
And Moana sees it, and it's like, that's like, you know how she's feeling in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not good. Moana is boating along in her boat, and she gets this huge storm. And then she magically wakes up on the beach of Maui's island.
So I was going to say all of this is like so convenient, but the ocean is her friend, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and she continuously gets put on the boat by the ocean.
How the ocean interferes and interjects is very strange. Like, the ocean could have helped a lot more.
Oh, yeah, especially during the storm and like pushing her boat along faster so that she wouldn't capsize.
Yeah.
Like,
the ocean really could have. Oh.
What?
Okay, no, I get it. And why doesn't the ocean just return the heart itself? The ocean brought the heart to her.
True.
But I think I have an answer. We'll get there.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, and who else is on the boat?
Hey Hey the chicken.
Hey Hey the chicken. Where does Hey Hey rank in animal sidekicks?
Low for me.
I agree. I like Pua the pig way better.
So Pua was originally supposed to be on the boat with her.
That's better. Hey Hey doesn't really add much. It's like the same bit of Hey Hey's too dumb to eat or live.
Yeah.
The end.
Why would Hey Hey be her sidekick?
Like, when you have when you have sidekicks like Aboob and Miko and Mushu and Flounder.
People who are actually like doing things for the protagonist.
I guess a lot of those are talking ones, so that's one thing. But Miko...
Yeah, Miko doesn't
speak. I
speak.
think Pua could do the same.
Oh, absolutely.
But Hey Hey, I didn't care for.
I feel like Pua's also, just from like a merchandising standpoint, way more merchandisable than Hey Hey.
True.
Like, I think a cute little pig plush would be a bigger seller than a...
cross-eyed skinny chicken?
Yeah. They really missed an opportunity there.
And in this storm, I think those are some of my favorite visuals of the movie. The storm and the sky and the water, all of that is fantastic. But you know what? This rewatch, I didn't love the character design as much as I thought I did.
Oh.
I think I don't like this era of Moana and Frozen when they have just giant eyes and tiny noses and mouths.
Yeah.
And their faces are more like cat-shaped.
Yeah,
like
and they're like
anime style.
Really round.
Yeah, the eyes are just too big. Like, I know it's a cartoon. We're going to make it as cute as possible, but it's too far in that direction for me, these couple of movies.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. I think they had it right in the, like, Pocahontas era.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, she was still, like, cute and, like, lovable and everything, but she wasn't, like, an anime character. Yeah,
the change of the animation style... I'm not always in love with from a lot of the new Disney stuff. Mm-hmm. Of course, I know it's not all going to be hand-drawn cell animation anymore, but still the proportions are just so out of whack.
Yeah, they don't look like humans, really.
Yeah, because their faces are based on cats now. No, that's true. Because it's more... Japanese influenced. And if
Right.
you look at them from the side, they have the profile of a cat. Their nose and mouth come out, and they have the kind of a muzzle, which you don't have in the old hand-drawn or cell animation types.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a cat.
Like a cat.
Which you'd think I'd love, but let the cats be cats.
True.
you know?
And like these are supposed to be humans.
Don't
Like
be taking cats' jobs.
like they refer to her as mortal so many times that she should look like a human, not like a cat. So the next song is You're Welcome, which is where we meet Maui, played by The Rock.
I like that in our world, we just have a famous celebrity that we just call The Rock.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, that's his name. And
Yeah.
we're all cool with it. You're Welcome is a funny introduction because I forgot that up to this point, Maui is played as a villain character.
Yes.
So you think he's going to be scarier, and then he's just kind of this egotistical jerk.
Yeah, because like the whole story that the grandmother tells is very like dark and like scary looking, and you'd expect that that's what you'd get, but no, you get this egotistical like fun guy.
Yeah, he's a real asshole for a lot of the
He
movie.
is, he is.
But I guess that's his journey.
Yeah, exactly. But I enjoy You're Welcome. It's a good song.
I think it's better than I give it credit for. I think I've become annoyed with the song because you hear it a lot, and
It is.
It's one that is a little more grating than perhaps the other songs in this. But seeing it with the visuals and everything, you're like, oh, okay, this is actually really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my favorite videos is The Rock doing this, like, the rap part from You're Welcome, and his daughters being like, you're not Maui. It's still one of my favorite things, is that his daughters don't think that he's actually Maui.
And right after this, we get the first occurrence of her speech of, I am Moana of Montanui.
You
What
will
is it?
board
You will
my boat.
We will
and
sail across and return the...
Heart of Tahiti. Yeah.
And this is a line that's going to happen repeatedly throughout, always reminding her of who she is. And it's kind of a mantra that reminds her of her home and her island and what she is doing all of this for. And I like how it changes over time, but I like this as kind of a grounding force for her and linking her again to her history.
Yeah. And I think this is where the movie kind of picks up speed and seems to like get you in that mood of like, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And then we meet, what was his name? The crab.
Jermaine Clement.
Tamatoa.
Oh, in the realm of monsters.
Yes.
This is another one where I think I've listened to the soundtrack a good bit with you, of course,
Yes.
and I stopped liking this song.
I never liked this song.
But watching it in the movie, it is much better.
Yes,
The
yes.
pacing is different, and with the visuals, it gains a lot. And in one point of Flight of the Conchords, Jermaine plays David Bowie, and he's doing his Bowie voice in a bunch of this, too.
Oh, like I feel like that fits. I like that he's basically a giant disco ball.
Yeah.
It's like the whole like cavern or whatever they're in is sparkly. So watching the movie, I agree with you. It's a great song. On its own, it's the one that I skip.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like, it's just not as...
It seems much more repetitive when you're just listening to the soundtrack version
And you
because it
don't
doesn't have all
the-
those gaps in
Yeah,
it.
and you don't have him like moving around and like you can't tell that he's throwing Maui around or like chasing after Moana.
Right.
Yeah, you don't have the plot to
It's
go
a good
with
one
it.
because the plot is happening. It's an action sequence is actually happening
Yeah.
during the song.
Yeah, and you don't get that when you're just listening. So it's my skip on the soundtrack.
What's your favorite villain song?
From like all of Disney?
Yeah. Because there's some good ones. Poor Unfortunate Souls. It's
I
gotta
was
be up
going to
there.
say, I think Poor Unfortunate Souls.
Be Prepared is actually pretty solid.
Oh,
Scar.
true. Yeah.
But my favorite, Gaston.
Oh, yeah. Of course, Gaston.
It's a different one because it's a song for the villain. It's not him singing his evil plan
Yeah.
as much, but goddamn, Gaston is a good song.
So good. So after they leave Jermaine Clement's lair,
Yep.
you get to see them while Maui is trying out his hook, and it seems like he's out of practice.
Oh, yeah. Well, he hasn't been using his magic hook in a long time.
So you get to see him be like half shark, half man, and like be a bunch of different things. And I like in this sequence, he becomes Sven from Frozen for a second.
Oh yeah.
Which is like really funny to me. So I like this sequence, and then they sail to the island where Te Fiti was, and they have to defeat Te Kā, who is this lava monster.
Good monster design.
Oh yeah, I liked like the plumes of smoke that were kind of part of him, and he has a weakness. He can't touch
I
water.
always said her.
Oh.
But this is a thing we're going to talk about very soon.
Okay.
Or should we talk about it now?
We can talk about it now. I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
That Te Kā is Te Fiti.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot.
Oh, okay. Because we had this.
No, I forgot while we were watching.
So that
it's been a
part you
while.
concede.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that Te Fiti is Moana's mom.
Te Fiti is not Moana's
I'm
mom.
pretty sure that's her mom.
No.
It is the mother of all. It is Mother Nature. It is a stand-in and is literally the mother of the planet, kind of.
Yeah, but
and also
she didn't
Moana's
give birth
mom.
to Moana.
Yeah, that's her mom. I'm pretty
No,
sure.
that's not her mom. Her mom lives on the island.
That is Aunt Carol.
No, it is not.
Stepmom Carol.
No. Why did you pick Carol?
Because that's like an aunt name.
True.
Aunt Carol.
Yeah, you're right. But no, she is not Moana's mom.
She might be.
No. Maui gets smashed by Te Kā, and his hook gets a big crack in it, and he basically like runs away.
I really enjoyed this section. There was a whole part that I forgot about, and we kind of get almost an origin story of Maui.
Yeah.
Because there's the one tattoo where it's a woman throwing a child into water, essentially. And we get to learn that he was abandoned by his human parents and he was human. And now we can infer that everything he does is for human approval. He has all of these tattoos of him being celebrated, and that's what he thinks of himself, is as a hero.
Yeah.
And him seeking out this constant human approval is because of the approval he did not get from his own parents. And now he's just trying to fill that void. And you get this insight into this character who was just kind of like a joke for most of the movie.
And kind of a jerk.
Very much a jerk.
And I think that this kind of explains some of that, and the facade that he puts on for Moana, who is human. So it does make a lot of sense. And I also like this part of the movie.
And then he leaves, and that's kind of the culmination of the two issues he has of first not taking responsibility for anything he has done, which is a big thing because he is the one who took the heart in the first place, but he's not taking any sort of responsibility of that. And that he's mostly driven by his need for approval. And when there is no one to give him that approval, or he's not getting it as much from Moana as he'd like, he just leaves.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm always sad to see him go at this point because I feel like he's giving up on himself and on Moana. We can't give up on Moana.
No, but what we can do is we can make amends for our mistakes, which is the theme of the movie, I think.
I like that. So Moana has a little chat with her grandma.
And this is, I know that last sequence was quite powerful, but I think this is a lot of really the crux of the movie. The most important things, I think, come through in this sequence because her grandmother is now kind of embodied, is a person again. And you could argue that at that first crash, Moana died, and now she can actually see her grandmother because she's in the world of the dead, and then she eventually comes back. But that's not what we're going to go into.
I've seen a YouTube video on
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's like a big fan theory.
Oh, I like it when other people are weird in the same way as I am.
Yeah, everybody thinks that she dies in the first storm.
No, I don't know about that, but I'm pretty sure that Te Fiti is her mom.
No.
But in this section, her grandmother asks, "Do you know who you are?" And her answer is
the next song.
Yes,
I am Moana.
I am Moana, but it's more than that because she answers with her ancestry. She is, I am the child of voyagers. I forget the line now, but it's about my ancestors were voyagers, and they call me. I've been on this long journey, and the sea calls me.
She's just getting a lot of calls. I hope she has a good phone plan.
And it's that theme of where you have been not only dictates where you are now, but
Yeah.
who you are, that we are the culmination of our experiences. It's not just saying, I am Moana. Because if her song was just about her and all these things she feels, and then she says, I am Moana, that is a very different movie than her starting way back generations before she was born. That's where her character comes from. It is all of that and her actions that have happened in this movie.
Yeah. I like this one. You get to see this kind of cool overlay of the ghost ships
Yes.
in like a non-creepy pirate sort of way, but
In an inspirational
way.
like an ancestral like bonding that she has with them.
Yeah, and Maui's taught her how to sail at this point, and so she's kind of feeling like one with her ancestors, and I love that. You also get another like epic song with the wind in her hair and her boat, and like her doing some like really epic poses.
It's inspirational. It's hitting all of the notes that we know a Disney movie will, and it's not that it's surprising, but it's just getting everything perfectly right. And I think this song is one of those. It's not something we haven't seen before, but they are nailing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that she switches, because now it's not you will board my boat, it's I will board my boat, I will set sail across the sea and restore the heart to Te Fiti, because she's taking upon all of that responsibility herself. Do you know why?
Why?
Because she is Moana.
Yes! I did actually know the answer to that. I just wanted you to say it. So after she gets this big courage boost, she sails off to Te Fiti and by herself manages to like get away from Te Kā and get into the main island part of Te Fiti, and you realize really quickly that Te Fiti is not in the place she's supposed to be, which is in the ocean laying on her island. And Moana figures it out real quick that Te Kā is actually Te Fiti.
And in this sequence, we get Maui coming back and joining in on the fight. And that's that reoccurring theme again, that we have the option to make things right. Just because we did the wrong thing once, that does not define you. We have the choice. And this movie does a beautiful job of illustrating that it's our choices and our perseverance that make us great. I know I often complain about the new Star Wars movies or Harry Potter, where you're special because why? You're born special.
Yeah.
You are special. You're the chosen one.
You don't find your specialness.
Yeah, and she has a bit of that because she was chosen by the ocean, and they make jokes about it, like the ocean told you were special and you believed it.
Yeah,
and
like your grandma said you were special. I'm sure that makes you special.
And they're kind of calling out that way of thinking or that style of writing these hero epics. But here, it is about the choices. It's not that the ocean chose her and that made her special. It's when everyone else was leaving her, she found the strength from her grandmother and her ancestors and her internal strength. And that's what's being rewarded or showcased as special here, not just your birthright.
Right. Yeah. She wasn't born magic. And they make a point to tell the watcher over and over again that she's mortal. She's a human and that she's not special.
And she is Moana.
So then we get to a song sung by Moana again called Know Who You Are. And this is kind of the transformation scene of the movie where Te Kā becomes Te Fiti again and Moana puts the heart back in and everything is kind of as it was and as it should be.
So then this brings up what I was talking about before. Why didn't the ocean just bring the heart back?
I think the ocean isn't as magic. Like, I think they needed to have like a human do it.
And what is Moana's power? She's chosen for a reason. What is her strength? It's her resilience, sure. I think that Moana's true power is healing. She is able to heal, and the ocean knows this.
Yeah.
So that means that if the ocean brought the heart back to Te Fiti, would that have healed the actual theft?
No.
Would Te Fiti still be angry towards Maui for stealing it in the first place? Would Maui have gotten over his need for praise? Would Moana have gotten the ability to lead her people? I don't think any of that would have happened, right?
No, because she grows as a person.
Yeah. At the end of the movie, they do go out and voyage, and it is because of what she has learned.
Yeah.
But it's not just that. They have healed the land. And if the ocean had done that, perhaps it doesn't have that same restorative property.
Mm-hmm.
It's different if you are the victim of a crime and they say like, oh, we found your car.
Right.
Than if the person who stole it brings it back to you and apologizes. That gives you a whole different level of closure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what Te Fiti or Te Kā needed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Moana can do, because Moana goes around and just heals. That's her power, I think.
Mm-hmm. I really like this scene because you get to see the like reversal of Te Kā, and you get to see all these flowers pop up and everything, and you get to see Te Fiti like lay her head down and like rest in peace, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And you see this peace kind of spread across the island and through the ocean, and you get to see it like come to Motunui and start to like reverse some of the damage that this blackness, this like creeping darkness was bringing to the island.
And I think there's a not so subtle good environmental message there too, that the damage we have done to the earth can be healed with restorative practices.
Yeah.
So that's a good part of it too. But I love when she tells Te Kā that this does not define you. This is not who you are. Because it is an act of that forgiveness. Just as Te Kā will later forgive Maui, first Moana is maybe not forgiving, but acknowledging that you, at your worst, is not you.
Yeah.
It's not the entirety of you. You contain so much more than that. And remember all of the other things you are too. This one thing does not define you. And then everyone is kind of taking that to heart. Because first, Te Fiti or Te Kā, going back to being Te Fiti, realizing that this is not all I am or all she is. And then same with Maui, that he is not just this one-dimensional hero that is cheered on by humans. He is his own person, and he discovers that too.
Yeah. It is a nice, like, kind of big wrap up for the movie. And then we got kind of another montage song, which Disney does so well, of We Know the Way, the finale version, where you get to see her people like on the mend, basically, of like pulling out those big ships and like getting back out onto the ocean and like exploring and being voyagers again. And you see her kind of come into her like chiefness or pre-chiefness.
Pre-chiefness. That's my favorite word now.
And you get to see her grow just a little bit more, and you get to see her kind of use her knowledge that she learned throughout this journey, and kind of how it made her ready to be chief.
It's one of the most fulfilling happily ever afters, because it's not just they lived happily ever after and they kissed and that's the end.
Yeah.
It is an entire rebirth for a culture, essentially,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. And she's able to renew this life that her ancestors lived.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love the end of this one.
It is. It's one of my favorite endings as well.
And then we get your favorite version of How Far I'll Go.
Oh, I don't like the pop version on this one. Honestly, if it's not Peebo on the pop version of one of the songs, I'm not interested. And this one, who is it that sings it on this?
Alessia Cara.
She kind of sings like the Neville Brothers a little bit.
I wonder like what they were going for with this, because
I think she's big.
I've heard
right?
her sing other things though, and it's not like this.
Yeah, I didn't love this one.
So it sounds like they were trying to make it sound like you were listening to the song through water.
Oh.
It's like
You
it's
think
all
that's what
like
they're going for?
wobbly and like weird. And I don't like this version, and I don't understand what they were thinking when they were like, yep, this is the take, let's do it. Because it just sounds like bad auto-tune, and like there was some sort of like mic malfunction while she was recording this. I don't love it.
What don't you like about Moana besides the pop version of the song?
I think we could have cut Jermaine Clement.
No. You need something there, though. They need to have a success.
True.
They need to get the hook and everything. You need something there. Structurally, that something needs to be there.
I wish that they had described to the viewer a little better where they were. Because I feel like the realm of monsters doesn't really tell us. And you were asking, like, are they underwater? Are they underwater?
Yeah, they were underwater in the realm of monsters.
Yeah, I just wish there was like a little bit more. Like Maui just dropped like a couple lines on what the realm of monsters was.
It kind of sounds like it's in the title to me. I didn't like the awkward humor. Like the awkward. They do a little bit of that of like, oh, well, I'll just, I'll go over there now. Like that kind of stuff. I feel like that's very dated. And when we watch this movie in the future, you'll be like, oh, yeah, that was like a whole type of humor, huh?
Yeah, that's fair.
And there's like a Twitter joke in there and things like that. I think anything that really sets it in our world.
I agree.
Which is my least favorite part of Aladdin is Robin Williams just constantly doing impressions, and you're like, oh yeah, I love a Jack Nicholson impression in my
1400s.
movie about yeah. Well, I think Aladdin takes place in the future.
Oh.
Right? Isn't it after like the world has died and they're kind of like rebuilding again?
I don't know.
Well, the genie has knowledge of things that have happened in the 90s.
True. Very true.
And they're kind of, some technology they have, certain things they don't. They're speaking English. Where is this place?
Agrabah.
Exactly. I think could be anywhere in the world, but the apocalypse has already happened. And then the genie experienced our time and then gets trapped for thousands of years. And then this is in the future. And wait, that's not what we're talking about.
No, that was not what we were talking about.
Yeah, I just don't like it when it is of a time, because when they don't put it in any one specific place, when they're not saying, oh, this is what modern day New Zealand is, or when you're not setting it anywhere specific historically, then let it be anywhere.
Anytime.
Because that's what they're trying to go with, this kind of mythic anytime in the past sort of thing. Then don't put a Twitter joke in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there are some Disney movies that benefit from the time, which is like Pocahontas.
Sure.
Because you need to know what year it is.
Yeah, because that's a specific place in time.
It's history, right? And so, yeah, but this definitely didn't need like modern references in it.
And do you know about the long pause?
No.
The long pause was like a real thing that all of those, many different Polynesian communities voyaged for 1,000 years. Then they stopped for hundreds. No one knows why. And then they started again. Nobody knows what the long pause was all about.
Oh, I didn't know that. That it was like
I don't know much about it, but
a real
I just
thing.
know that. Yeah.
Interesting. I knew that Maui, like the lore of Maui, was a real thing.
Yeah, they seem to have taken things from many different cultures and just kind of mashed it together and being like, yeah, it's kind of everything. It's island.
It's island. Yeah. It is ocean. That's why this week is just water themed.
Yeah.
It is water.
It is water. That's true.
It's very true.
So, final thoughts on Moana?
It's so great.
It really is. It's very good.
It's just like makes you happy. We started it quite late the other night and we both got so into it, we realized we'd watched half of it without knowing, because we just both got so into it. And I was like, yeah, I could stay up until like 1 a.m. to finish this movie. I think everybody should see it.
I think it's a great evolution of the classic Disney formula, because it's not stepping outside of it too much. It's not revolutionizing things that you saw in the late 80s or early 90s. It's those same things, but it's aware of its place in our world. And now we're having those characters who are young women who are strong and independent and gaining that, and these ideas of forgiveness and restoration through forgiveness. Those things were probably too complex for the great Disney movies I loved of our youth, right? But I'm glad that those are finding a place in a movie like this. And I think it's doing that classic thing, but it's doing it very well. So I guess if you're going to keep making it fresh with different characters and settings, maybe you don't need to change the classic formula.
Yeah, true. I like that classic formula for sure.
It's working.
And I think they did some new things that just made the classic formula better.
It's kind of what I love about Little Mermaid with the things that I didn't love taken out.
Yeah.
It's just getting rid of that romance and stuff. And what if Ariel just kind of figured it out?
Yeah, what if Ariel went on this grand adventure and succeeded?
Yeah,
and,
by herself.
Yeah, and becoming a princess wasn't what her end goal was.
But she kind of is.
Yeah, true.
She has a dress and an animal sidekick, doesn't she?
Yes, she does. I did like that Maui was like cognizant of that kind of
the Disney world.
Of the Disney like stereotype princess, and I thought that was kind of a funny line.
Well, I think that brings us to the end of our Moana talk. It was maybe faster than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Because I think we're both just like, wasn't that great? How about that part? That was awesome.
We didn't have a lot of like criticism of it. So it just, everyone should see it. I don't know.
So we are going to continue our water theme because that was Sam's pick of a theme. And next week we will have 2 water-based things of the fortnight.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, we'll figure it out. And then I'll choose a movie, and it is going to be water-based. And I know there's so many good options that I was thinking of. But what I went with is water-based, but also a nice companion piece to Moana.
Nice. Okay, well, I'm excited.
And we'll be doing all of that next week, so we'll see you then.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
I think I'm out of...
Are we done?
Yeah.
I could be done.
I can be done.